Hey, hey, hey. It just popped on. I think it's here. He drowning in a sea of blue, ain't he? In the sea of blue. Oh. Yeah, hold on. Let's see what our Democratic victories tonight. He drowning in the sea of blue. Governor, mayor, lieutenant governor. Majority. House. 60. Oh, yes, indeed. I'm drowning. Yeah. Shout out to the blue, the sea of blue. Okay. So let's get on back to the Charlie Kirk. Since we know they've been backdooring, let's hear what's going down. Y'all ready? I'm going straight in. I've been rolling. Let's go. Who is fooling with Charlie? Baby, we have learned some things these last few days. Yes, sir.
Introducing Prop Money Inc.'s new Real Age. This isn't your typical prop money you've seen from us over the years. This is
regarding the Charlie Kirk case. Now buckle up, because there's this country.
She said, buckle up. We're about to go on.
All right, you guys.
Y'all ready? I can't hear y'all. Oh, somebody. Hey, Samantha. Hey, thank you for the flowers. I went to school with a girl who almost spelled her name like that. She had a J-Z-A-C-Q-U. Jacques, thank you. I don't want to mispronounce it. Hey, Mimi. Hey, Cynthia. But I see you. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. So she said, buckle up. Buckle up. Let's go.
Let's jump right back into it. Back into the investigation, because I have some incredibly interesting updates for you.
We ready?
Actually, some explosive revelations regarding the Charlie Kirk case. Now buckle up, because there's this country that's only the size of New Jersey. It's always the victim. It turns out that they had some people on the ground that day. And I just want to be clear here, no matter what I say throughout this episode, please remember that they are always the victim. Historically, have always been the victim, and they have done nothing wrong. Didn't do nothing wrong on 9/10 either. In other news, the
Who didn't do
McCoys,
nothing wrong?
the victim. It turns out that they had some people on the ground that day. And I just want to be clear here, no matter what I say throughout this episode, please remember that they are always the victim. Historically, have always been the victim, and they have done nothing wrong. Didn't do nothing wrong on 9/10 either. In other news, the McCoys, let's jump back into their story because I've learned some crazy interesting data points to add to our timeline. You know I love me a timeline. So let's jump back in. Welcome back to Candace. Do you know that moment when your subconscious kind of meets your conscious? Like you just suddenly, your subconscious is storing all this information and it's maybe flagging something for you that's a little weird, but you haven't come to realize it yet. And then all of a sudden, the information breaks the surface and you're like, aha, I got it. I didn't even realize that thing that happened a long time ago was a little bit weird. Mm-hmm. And suddenly you're behaving like Dory, the bluefish from the movie Finding Nemo, when she remembers the P. Sherman address from Australia. You guys know that moment. Take a watch. So, Sydney. P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. Crime solved. Okay, that is how it works. Never ignore your subconscious. That's why I say pay attention to my dreams. I don't care who has to laugh at me about it. And there was this little something that flagged in the back of my mind as odd in the aftermath of Charlie's assassination. One of these things that might seem small, but it's always the small details that help to paint the broader and bigger picture, right? Elle Woods, in the movie Legally Blonde, she was absolutely correct when she said that people who work out have endorphins and happy people don't kill their husbands. Anyway, the thing that I realized is that Mikey McCoy, the chief of staff,
Here we go.
Turning Point USA, Mikey McCoy,
the one who left him,
for whatever reason, he always requires an adjective. Whenever they discuss Mikey McCoy, there's an adjective before they say his name. A bunch of people in the Turning Point USA orbit described Mikey McCoy in this very unique manner. I want you to take a listen to that.
But let me tell you who the heroes were in this whole thing. We're going to start with 23-year-old Mikey McCoy. And that's when the great Mikey McCoy showed up.
And my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy.
My friend Mikey McCoy, the brilliant 24-year-old who at the time when Charlie was shot was 23
accolade
and was a hero that day.
I used to be known as Charlie Kirk's pastor, now I'm known as Mikey McCoy's dad.
He clicked into gear eventually.
He did.
It was amazing. Mikey was a heroic figure on that day.
Amazing, heroic, he was brilliant. It stood out to me really because it's only Mikey that they moved to do it for. And objectively speaking, okay, I don't care what your experience in life is, I would not move to insist that someone was quote unquote heroic for walking away from their friend after he was shot. Okay, that wouldn't be the adjective that came to my mind, heroic. I also don't feel the need ever to qualify any of my friends with an adjective. Think about how strange it would be if on this show, every time I cover Tucker Carlson, I was like, the spectacular Tucker Carlson. The breathtaking Tucker Carlson is under attack in this moment. You'd be like, why are you doing that?
Right.
I feel like you're trying to program me. This only made me more interested in Mikey and the McCoy story. And I want to be super clear here. No innuendo. I know that Mikey McCoy did not kill Charlie Kirk. We watch him in those moments.
Yeah, he left.
But
he
it's
ran.
also becoming pretty apparent to me that the stage was being set for Mikey to become the new Charlie. In fact, on stage, at the memorial event for Charlie and elsewhere, they were trying to prime the public for that plausibility, almost like it was this psychological operation, nod to Rob McCoy and his family lineage, to see Mikey as capable of filling Charlie's shoes. Take a listen.
Let me tell you something about Mikey. Mikey's been with Charlie for several years. He's 23 years old. He is wise beyond his years. And when that tragedy struck, Mikey was an absolute hero.
Oh, my God.
Who kept everybody calm and did some of the most mundane things you would think you would need to do on the worst day of his life. And he continues to be a rock. He's been following Jesus for a long time.
Oh, my God.
I'm hoping that Mikey one day will follow in Charlie's footsteps right to the
They
college
are
campus
such
because he has the
deceivers.
ability, the demeanor, the grace the knowledge to do so.
Set an example for the believers
Bullcorn.
in speech and conduct and love, in faith and in purity. Our speaker today, Mikey McCoy, has done that. His path was pretty much like Charlie Kirk's path.
Pretty much like Charlie Kirk's path, and he's got the grace and the wits and it's amazing, okay? And if you're wondering why we also included Erica saying the amazing Mikey McCoy in her first speech, it's because Rob McCoy, oddly, refers back to Erica's speech when he is asked specifically what he believes Mikey's future is going to be at Turning Point USA, okay? He's gonna start, you're gonna see, he's gonna answer a question. The show is Faith, the Faith Forward show. And he starts to answer the question, but then he sort of cuts himself off and he trails into a different topic, almost as if he catches himself. Take a listen.
And then Mikey specifically, like how he's going to kind of fit into that picture. Because when I'm seeing him speak, man, I'm like, dude, this Mikey is going to have a humongous role within this organization.
So Charlie was an avid journaler, very avid. And when Erica started opening up his journals after he was killed, she started reading. Charlie had a plan all the way through 2028.
Wow.
Written out. Written out. I mean, there's an order of succession, and when she comes out and she says the amazing, I think she said the amazing Mikey McCoy.
Mikey McCoy, yeah.
And this is one of the things I would share with Mikey, I'd share with Charlie, and I learned it from Steve Smotherman, and Pastor Steve Smotherman said it to Charlie. Where you're a public figure, you have very little privacy.
That was weird, right? That's a weird way to try to answer that question. What's he doing there? Is he trying to make us believe, but not explicitly state, but kind of explicitly state, or maybe implicitly state that Charlie's future, or rather Mikey McCoy's future, was written by Charlie in one of these journals? That's what I was picking up. That's what I feel like he was throwing down. Let me know if I'm crazy, but that was a weird way to answer. And he's like, so when Erica comes out and she says the amazing Mikey McCoy, he talks about the journals. What's going on here? Now, I'm going to give you some data points to back this up. Now, I maintain that the wonderful Mikey McCoy doesn't strike me as intrinsically evil. Something Charlie used to always say to me is the eyes are the window to the soul. I don't see this intrinsic evil when I look at Mikey McCoy's eyes. But, however, I do think he was hyped, okay? I think Mikey was promised or told or encouraged that he would become the new Charlie, and it is a fact that that was the number one sentiment that we received from our Turning Point USA insiders following Charlie's assassination, that the supercalifragilistic Mikey McCoy appeared to have like an extra spring in his step that made them all a little bit uncomfortable in the aftermath, and that he seemed all too happy to assume Charlie's position. Look, he's already speaking at Liberty University. Why? Because he made some phone calls? Have we lowered the standards for what makes somebody a hero in 2025? I don't know. And I will say that beyond the sentiment that was expressed to us from these Turning Point USA insiders, there are some interesting facts. Fact number one, for whatever reason, in the month, and I'm going to make sure that I address my timeline here, in the month leading up to Charlie's death, Mikey McCoy was interested in capturing some behind-the-scenes footage, more intimate moments of Charlie's life. And I'm going to give you two examples of that, okay? Example number one, Charlie's very last overseas trip to Korea. Okay, this was 4 days before he died. For whatever reason, Mikey McCoy felt suddenly inspired to try his luck, miking up Charlie and capturing him on the road. And he says this is the first time he ever did it. Take a listen to Mikey McCoy explain that.
The next era of digital ownership starts here, for everyone, including you. Clear, simple. Ledger Signer and Ledger Wallet is the ultimate combination. The best of a wallet experience with the security of a Ledger Signer. Because your digital future deserves more. Ledger.
I can clean your teeth, but I can't wash your whole mouth.
Yes, we're toothbrushes, not mouth brushes.
Listerine works with brushing to deliver 5 times more cleaning power, plus it contains clinically proven essential oils.
For whole mouth health, Listerine. Wash your mouth.
Today is really fun because Mikey and Blake are going to talk about their last trip with Charlie to Asia.
Yep.
And Mikey, you are now in the driver's seat. The floor is yours.
Yeah.
Speaking at Liberty University, why? Because he made some phone calls? That's have we lowered the standards for what makes somebody a hero in 2025?
Please hit the like button, please. Double tap the screen.
And I will say that beyond the sentiment that was expressed to us
Thank
from
you,
the Transport
Natural
USA
Knowledge. Hey,
insiders,
Vicky.
there are some interesting facts. Fact number 1, for whatever reason, in the month, and I'm going to make sure that I address my timeline here, in the month leading up to Charlie's death, Mikey McCoy was interested in capturing some behind-the-scenes footage, more intimate moments of Charlie's life. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of that, okay? Example number 1, Charlie's very last overseas trip to Korea. This was 4 days before he died. For whatever reason, Mikey McCoy felt suddenly inspired to try his luck, miking up Charlie and capturing him on the road. And he says this is the first time he ever did it. Take a listen to Mikey McCoy explain that.
Today is really fun because Mikey and Blake are going to talk about their last trip with Charlie to Asia.
Yep.
And Mikey, you are now in the driver's seat. The floor is yours.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that was just 3-4 days before Utah.
Crazy.
And it was Charlie's dream to always go to Asia, and Blake and I got the gift of being able to tag along for that. And so I brought the camera with me. I've never traveled with a camera before, but I decided, it would be a good idea to mic Charlie up, do some content with him while we're there.
Okay? That is remarkable, obviously. For the first time, he decided to mic. It's not something that somebody does as a chief of staff. It's not something that somebody does in that role. Okay, I've traveled with Charlie everywhere. Very strange. The person that mics is always the AV person. And I would assume there were some AV people that were on hand given the trip. But anyways, that's not it. Okay, that's not just one point that we have. And don't worry, because I'm going to show you after I plotted all of this into our timeline. Just a few weeks before Charlie died, Mikey McCoy and his wife Eliza, for the very first time, now this is according to Eliza McCoy, she shared that it was the first time ever that they went on vacation. Her and Mikey went on vacation with Erica and Charlie. Here's that post on Instagram. That second paragraph begins, "We spent a few weeks together this summer, our first family trip together." Okay, getting real close there. And while they were on this very first time together for a couple of weeks vacation, something moved the McCoys to capture intimate and sweet moments of the Kirk family from behind the scenes. Now, you know which footage I'm talking about. It's the footage that has since gone viral of Charlie walking with his children and Erica. Erica grabs his hand. It's actually a very sweet moment, and it moved a lot of us. People were, I know I was crying when I first saw this footage a couple of days after Charlie died. Well, let me tell you guys something. Fortunately, the McCoys were the ones that captured that footage. See, my thing is I need to know what moved them to do that. Are they really just that extraordinary? Is it the extraordinarily lucky Mikey McCoy? Because I was thinking about it because I have a big family and people with families know. And you can go through Charlie's Instagram as I have done. There's always one person missing from intimate family moments when they're on the fly. They're not planned, right? There tends to be one family member missing because one person grabs the camera and you're capturing kids with dad, or you're capturing the kids with mom, or it's just the kids, whatever it is. That's how family footage, when it's organic, tends to look, right? And of course, on holidays, you get together, you stand up, you capture a picture. That is the pattern. If you go through Erica, Charlie's Instagram, Charlie's missing or Erica's missing, and that's because they're filming each other. But thankfully, the McCoys were on hand in what looks like mid-July or early August. Into early August, according to my sources, we will nail down these specific dates in the future. We are working on it, okay? Strikes me as odd that Mikey is just picking up the camera and capturing these moments. I don't know. For the first time ever, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And if I'm in Erica's position, I'm gonna look at him funny like, what's going on here, okay? Now let's bring in Daddy McCoy. Wouldn't say, he strikes me as something else entirely. And he similarly had some rather impeccable timing. Rob McCoy, as you very well know, was the senior pastor of the God Speak Calvary Chapel in Thousand Oaks, California. You should also know, by the way, let me introduce this to you right now because I didn't know, that he was funded, his church was funded by the Wilkes brothers down in Texas. The Wilkes brothers are the ones that fund Daily Wire, were, the initial seed money behind the Daily Wire, the initial seed, not the initial seed money behind PragerU, but they majorly fund Prager University as well. So that's an interesting web that's being woven before our eyes, right? You've got PragerU, and now you've got this church, and they are a part of what is described online as a cult. It's like Christians for Jews. You look into it yourself. I honestly can't explain it, but that's just something that you should know in the background. Anyway, for whatever reason, after 17 years as the head pastor of that church, Rob McCoy, it was publicly announced in January of this year that he was stepping down as the head pastor and instead assuming the role. That's how family footage, when it's organic, tends to look, right? And of course, on holidays, you get together, you stand up, capture a picture. That is the pattern. If you go through Erica, Charlie's Instagram, Charlie's missing or Erica's missing, and that's because they're filming each other. But thankfully, the McCoys were on hand in what looks like mid-July or early August. Into early August, according to my sources, we will nail down these specific dates in the future. We are working on it, okay? Strikes me as odd that Mikey is just picking up the camera and capturing these moments. I don't know. For the first time ever, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And if I'm in Erica's position, I'm starting to look at
we talking about something else today?
What's going on here?
Right now?
Okay? Now let's bring in Daddy McCoy. Wouldn't
Stay
say,
on topic.
he strikes me as something else entirely. And he similarly had some rather impeccable timing. Rob McCoy, as you very well know, was the senior pastor of the God Speak Calvary Chapel in Thousand Oaks, California. You should also know, by the way, let me introduce this to you right now because I didn't know, that he was funded, his church was funded by the Wilkes brothers down in Texas. The Wilkes brothers are the ones that fund Daily Wire, were, the initial seed money behind the Daily Wire, the initial seed, not the initial seed money behind PragerU, but they majorly fund Prager University as well. So that's an interesting web that's being woven before our eyes, right? You've got PragerU, and now you've got this church, and they are a part of what is described online as a cult.
Right.
It's like Christians for Jews. You look into it yourself. I honestly can't explain it, but that's just something that you should know in the background. Anyway, for whatever reason, after 17 years as the head pastor of that church, Rob McCoy, it was publicly announced in January of this year that he would be stepping down as the head pastor and instead assuming the role of pastor emeritus. Now, for the uninitiated, emeritus is basically just an honorific title, right? Bestowed upon someone after they retire from some distinguished position. For Rob McCoy, they had planned that transition. That transition took effect in mid-July of this year. Okay, mid-July of this year is when he officially steps down from the church. A lot going on here in McCoy land. Now, in case you're thinking, well, that doesn't mean that he was doing all of that and transitioning because he was anticipating some bigger role at Turning Point USA and maybe therefore planning to wind down his life in California. No, actually, that's exactly the reason that was cited when it was reported on in January. In the Ventura County Star, they wrote, quote, he's approaching a transition in July. He'll step down as the senior pastor of Godspeak and hand the reins to his son-in-law, Micah Stevens, the church's administrative and worship pastor. McCoy will become the emeritus pastor and will still preach regularly at the church in a role that could last into the mid-70s. And then it goes on to say when McCoy's responsibilities grew at Turning Point USA, he and his wife sold their home in Thousand Oaks and bought a home in the Phoenix area. Now he said that he bought a different place in Thousand Oaks. He also owns a home in Coronado near San Diego. Now, what we can confirm to you is that Rob actually put that secondary home in Coronado up for sale on August 24th, 2025 of this year. He listed his home up for sale. So suffice it to say that the fantastic, heroic, sensational McCoys we're pretty busy this summer, and I don't like it at all. I just don't like it. The vibes for me are not good. Now we can take a look at our timeline here with these new moves added into it. We're going to start looking at July 11th because that's when I think things reached some sort of a pinnacle. That's the infamous speech that Tucker Carlson gave where he calls out Bill Ackman. He starts talking about Israel, all this stuff, and things start moving, okay? Now you can see that's July 11th, and he says that people who serve in foreign armies should be stripped of their citizenship. He muses about where Bill Ackman's wealth comes from. July 18th is our next date on our timeline. And this is a great find from Sam Parker. That is when Turning Point USA receives a request from UVU for Charlie to hold an event at Utah Valley. Not only do they instantly accept this request, but they also make it his first stop, which is incredible. We can listen to a news anchor, I think this is from Fox News Salt Lake City, describe exactly when that request went out, as we're telling you on July 18th. Take a listen.
Utah Valley University has provided the document that created the rally at which conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot to death, but it is not providing the security plan for that day. I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle. We've been asking UVU for records related to the September 10th Kirk rally. After about 6 weeks, this is the first record provided. It's the application submitted mid-July by the UVU chapter of Kirk's Turning Point USA. The applicants answer standard questions about time, place, and a description of the event. However, we noticed there is one question not asked on the form, whether organizers need any police protection. That's a standard inquiry at, for example, University of Utah events. Speaking of police, UVU has denied Fox 13 News' request for a copy of the Kirk Rally security plan. The university is citing a provision in state records laws keeping confidential, quote, security measures, end quote. The campus also has expressed concern that the records could interfere in any investigation and someone's right to a fair trial. Tyler Robinson is charged with Kirk's murder.
Not him.
Fox 13 plans an appeal of the denial, and we are still pursuing a variety of records related to the Kirk shooting.
Things happen here, but no one really talks about it.
Yeah, that's in the world.
Well, Fox 13 News, if I can be of any assistance, you just reach out to me because I've done a lot of these events and everything happening here is unusual, okay? For them to honor a request, I mean, we get every university across all 50 states trying to get Charlie and I to speak, okay? A request going in that late, being honored and becoming stop number one within a couple of weeks, I'm going to say that's never happened. I'm going to dig through my inbox, okay? I'm going to dig through my inbox. I'm going to see what the normal security protocols are because, as everybody has noticed, there was no ambulance on standby.
None.
And that's against Utah law.
And it don't look like they called either.
It's interesting that they don't want to release the security plan because I'm pretty sure this was an extraordinary first-time thing where they didn't have a security plan. And I had received a tip, and I do want to check this out, by the way, that they also had initially slated for this event to be inside, but it was moved. Again, I have to look into that. I'm not confirming that. But if that's true as well, things are about to get very interesting. And guess what, guys? There's more. And this part is crazy. I guess it's not really crazy. I think I saw, like, Milo Yiannopoulos tweeted, I think Israel did it. And that's because he was tweeting about the bizarre lie of them saying Erica Kirk was accepting this award. And they completely fictionalized it. They've just been lying nonstop, quickly, right? Right out the gate, Bibi Netanyahu doing propaganda rounds, denying that he had anything to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Perfectly normal thing to do, right? Perfectly normal. For some reason, I didn't feel compelled to do that. I didn't feel like I had to get on camera and make a statement that I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. But Bibi Netanyahu felt that he needed to do that, and all of his sycophants in America echoed that statement, and nobody had accused them. A thief runneth when no one pursueth, right? Well, here's some explosive news for you that I can now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, confirm. Putting my name on this. Not only can I confirm this, but I can publicly challenge the very Zionist-occupied Trump administration, who is aware of this, to deny it, to come out and say, no, that's not true. Okay? And if Kash Patel is done crying about the mean tweets on the internet regarding his sensational singing girlfriend, he can also certainly make the time of day to deny what
she wants
I
you
am
to
saying
deny,
if it is
yeah.
untrue, right? Because this is pretty relevant. Now, I should say that some people had actually reported this earlier. Like Mel, I've been telling you to follow her, Village Crazy Lady over on X. She was actually very early with this reporting, and I had heard rumors and rumblings, but I wanted to make sure that I had verifiable proof, enough proof that I would go out on a limb, as I'm doing right now, and asserting that it is authentic and it is real. Ladies and gentlemen, there were, for whatever reason, 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground at Utah Valley University the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
12.
This has completely spooked the people that are very high up in government. Now, to be clear, I don't mean that there were 12 VPNs that were switched and routed through Israel on that day. I mean that there were 12 personal cell phone accounts that were opened in Israel, okay? Like you go into Verizon in Tennessee or in Connecticut and you open your phone. I am saying that they opened their phones in Israel, those accounts in Israel, and they were on the ground on September 10th at Utah Valley University when Charlie was shot. Now, the NSA knows this. Kash Patel knows this. People in the current administration know this, and they are desperate for some reason to stop that information from being released to the public. Why? Because they're the most transparent administration.
They was the ones on the plane.
Is this like Jeffrey Epstein transparency that we're getting? Because that's what it feels like. It always seems that on the topic of this one nation that's only the size of New Jersey and has done nothing wrong ever and was truly the greatest friend to Charlie right up until the very end, never put any pressure on him, suddenly everybody abandons their values. True friends of Charlie Kirk, right? Standing on that stage, giving him a speech, hiding this. Now, what would be the reason that they wanted to keep that information under wraps? And why does it have people at the very top spooked? If there's nothing to hide, then there's nothing to hide.
Do y'all remember?
We're here to give you that styled feeling. Everyone's gearing up for the holidays. In a Chevy of their choice.
Okay?
Do y'all remember when we talked about the JFK assassination? And, you know, because this is what they often compare it to. Do y'all remember who the prime minister, you don't remember, but do y'all remember when I showed y'all that the prime minister of Israel was there? He wanted to be there when it happened to witness it for JFK. Same thing. They needed to be there on the ground to witness it. Same thing. Let's back this thing up a little bit. Wow.
Or your left versus right. Don't care anymore. There is power and there is the rest of us. There is power and there is the rest of us. And you are not going to convince me that any of this stuff is consequential. They never even talked about the guy in all black. Kirk catch a bullet in his throat and watching all of you lie about it. Okay? There's actually this vintage clip from TRL.
And listen, and y'all know she wants, if she's challenging, but let me back this up because she done sparked a nut. And y'all know her by now that if she is challenging them to, in any shape, form, or fashion, saying that she's lying, y'all know that she already have the evidence to lay it out. We already know that about her. We already know that. So it's just a matter of time. Now, if they don't, then we know that they're involved. If they challenge her, then either they don't believe she got anything or they don't know what's going on.
X did not go through his neck, did not get stopped, rather, by his neck. Until you acknowledge that story that you tried to tell us is complete BS, something that could take down a moose, somehow
I missed
somewhat accusatory, upset, that Republicans are infighting, if that's what you're calling this. I'm not fighting with you, okay? I'm going to see this thing all the way through. And that we're instead focused on using our platforms to fight one another rather than to encourage people to
Did I miss all of this?
Sometimes I wish I was born yesterday, right? It would be so easy to just accept it and be like, oh, yeah, I totally, there just was a lone shooter who, you know, had never really been hunted, but he got really lucky and he just fired this shot and he never been to the campus, but he somehow knew how to scale the buildings, running around like Spider-Man, abandons their values. True friends of Charlie Kirk, right? Standing on that stage, giving him a speech, hiding this. Now, what would be the reason that they wanted to keep that information under wraps? And why does it have people at the very top spooked? If there's nothing to hide, then there's nothing to hide. Okay? If there's nothing to hide,
there's nothing
then
to
there's
hide.
nothing to hide.
I agree.
Now, let's play devil's advocate. And to be clear, we are now advocating for the devil when we do this.
Oh, wow.
Maybe the cell phones belonged to some exchange students. It's possible.
So
maybe 12 is true. Okay? And if Kash Patel is done crying about the mean tweets on the internet regarding his sensational singing girlfriend, he can also certainly make the time of day to deny what I am saying if it is untrue, right? Because this is pretty relevant. Now, I should say that some people had actually reported this earlier. Like Mel, I've been telling you to follow her, Village Crazy Lady over on X. She was actually very early with this reporting, and I had heard rumors and rumblings, but I wanted to make sure that I had verifiable proof, enough proof that I would go out on a limb, as I'm doing right now.
Sorry, y'all. Shout out to Gavin Newsom. It said he scored a huge victory of the Prop 50. Ooh-wee. Shout out to Gavin. Let's go.
Now, in asserting that it is authentic and it is real, ladies and gentlemen, there this earlier. Like Mel, I've been telling you to follow her, Village Crazy Lady over on X. She was actually very early with this reporting, and I had heard rumors and rumblings, but I wanted to make sure that I had verifiable proof, enough proof that I would go out on a limb, as I'm doing right now, in asserting that it is authentic and it is real. Ladies and gentlemen, there were, for whatever reason, 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground at Utah Valley University the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. This has completely spooked the people that are very high up in government. Now, to be clear, I don't mean that there were 12 VPNs that were switched and routed through Israel on that day. I mean that there were 12 personal cell phone accounts that were opened in Israel, okay? Like you go into Verizon in Tennessee or in Connecticut and you open your phone. I am saying that they opened their phones in Israel, those accounts in Israel, and they were on the ground on September 10th at Utah Valley University when Charlie was shot. Now, the NSA knows this. Kash Patel knows this. People in the current administration know this, and they are desperate for some reason to stop that information from being released to the public. Why? Because they're the most transparent administration ever? Is that why? Is this like Jeffrey Epstein transparency that we're getting? Because that's what it feels like. It always seems that on the topic of this one nation that's only the size of New Jersey and has done nothing wrong ever and was truly the greatest friend to Charlie right up until the very end, never put any pressure on him, suddenly everybody abandons their values. True friends of Charlie Kirk, right? Standing on that stage, giving him a speech, hiding this. Now, what would be the reason that they wanted to keep that information under wraps? And why does it have people at the very top spooked? If there's nothing to hide, then there's nothing to hide. Okay? If there's nothing to hide, then there's nothing to hide. Now, let's play devil's advocate. And to be clear, we are now advocating for the devil when we do this. Maybe the cell phones belonged to some exchange students. It's possible. Maybe 12 Israelis were touring UVU on that day because, I don't know, Utah Valley University is a place where they maybe wanted to attend in the future. Maybe 12 American students had Israeli-based cell phones because they had just come back from a summer abroad program and they wanted to keep their Israeli cell phones running when they got back home to Utah. I don't know. But I'd like to know. In fact, we need to know the answer to this question. Why are they hiding this information? And why and who did those 12 Israeli cell phones belong to? Okay? I don't like secrets. I don't like secrets, especially when they pertain to the public execution of my friend Charlie Kirk. We'll take a break and we'll come right back. All right, you guys, jumping in here to tell you about Preborn, rather to remind you about Preborn, because you guys, to support our long-term health, wellness, our cognitive health, and naturally repair our fish oil. It comes in a really nice checkout.
Y'all please hit the like button, double
Okay,
tap
we
the
are gonna
face of your
play
screen,
a segment called
like,
Painball.
share, subscribe, and join the
And-
membership.
So we've got planes from Egypt, cell phones from Israel, and we are getting the runaround
I agree, he
from
didn't.
the Trump administration, the runaround from his friends, the people that
Oh
want
my
to just
God,
stop
them are not
asking
friends.
questions and move on. What does
Thank
this
you,
feel like to you?
Vicky.
What does this feel like to you? Sometimes I wish I was born yesterday, right? It would be so easy to just accept it and be like, oh, yeah, I totally, there just was a lone shooter who, you know, had never really been hunted, but he got really lucky and he just fired this shot and he never been to the campus, but he somehow knew how to scale the buildings, running around like Spider-Man. I wish I was born yesterday so I could just accept that. I do. Unfortunately, I wasn't born yesterday. I was actually born 36 years ago. And everyone is full of it. I am looking at a situation where Charlie was betrayed and is actively being betrayed every day by the very people that he helped to elect, the people that are in office. They are betraying him by trying to feed us this nonsense, okay? They are feeding us, they're selling us crap and trying to tell us it's food, right? Like if this is nourishing or something. I just won't tolerate it, okay? And it is, I think, one of the craziest things happening right now, that these people are now telling us to shift gears and that it's our duty, right? It's our duty to make sure more of them get elected. Now, there are a lot of people running around right now. There are races, important races, they tell us, going on in the country, consequential races that are happening, and people online are being somewhat accusatory, upset that Republicans are infighting, if that's what you're calling this. I'm not fighting with you, okay? I'm going to see this thing all the way through. And that we're instead focused on using our platforms to fight one another rather than to encourage people to go vote so that Republicans can stay in power across various cities. You know, as just one example, of course, people really cannot stop speaking about the Mamdani versus the Cuomo mayoral race in New York. Now, Cuomo's already one of the most corrupt families in New York. And now they're like, no, switch gears because Mamdani is going to be worse. And it's your job as a good little Republican, okay, to go out there and to make sure that Mamdani doesn't win. And to those very many people, I would like to say, no, I'm good, actually. I'm just not interested. I'm interested in nothing until you start telling the truth about what happened in Charlie Kirk. Until you acknowledge that a .30-06 did not go through his neck, did not get stopped, rather, by his neck. Until you acknowledge that that story that you tried to tell us is complete BS, something that could take down a moose, somehow did not take down Charlie Kirk. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? I'm not interested in your races around the country. I'm not voting until this is resolved, okay? This is toxic. You are toxic. And it is unbelievably abusive to suggest that I have to now reinvest and work for the exact same party that told me that if I voted for them and got the word out for them and I did do all of those things, that things would be different.
And got
corruption's going to stop.
That's I heard
We're
it,
gonna
and
be
get
most
the word
transparent
out.
Administration that you've ever seen.
And get the word
Except on those
out.
Epstein
Y'all hear
files.
that?
Yeah, I know. I'm not interested in your races around the country. I'm not voting until this is resolved. Okay? This.
Y'all hear that? And get the word out. They use them. They use their voices for the. Oh my God. That's why she said she was their slave. Her and Charlie. Yep.
not interested. I'm interested in nothing until you start telling the truth about what happened in Charlie Kirk. Until you acknowledge that a 30-06 did not go through his neck, did not get stopped, rather, by his neck. Until you acknowledge that story that you tried to tell us is
showed it
complete BS, something that
yesterday.
could take down a moose, somehow did not take down Charlie Kirk. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
Are
yeah,
you
we played it
absolutely kidding me?
yesterday.
I'm not interested in your races around the country. I'm not voting until this is resolved, okay? This is toxic. You are toxic. And it is unbelievably abusive to suggest that I have to now reinvest and work for the exact same party that told me that if I voted for them and got the word out for them, and I did do all of those things, that things would be different. Corruption's gonna stop. We're gonna be the most transparent administration that you've ever seen. Except on those Epstein files. Yeah, I know he was like abusing children, but what Epstein files were we even talking about? No. No, thank you. No. Nope. Goodbye.
Yes, it's on my channel. Hold on, y'all. It was the church, the Saginaw of Satan. Hold on, let me see what those titles were yesterday, where we dived into. Oh yeah, it was. Oh yeah, let me show you it so you'll know which ones it is. Yep, I think we dived into it twice yesterday, and it was horrible. Indeed, it was horrible. So this is why I kept saying earlier that I'm not going to play with the Christian because their walk is totally opposite. We come to Christ for salvation, for redemption of sin, and they only get moved up when they sin. So, dang, it may be two. So it is, I don't know if you can see it here. Okay, I'll show it to you. Let me go back, because I got to go to a different system, but I'll show it to you which one it is. It was one yesterday that says the thumbnail has that goat thing on it, and I have Zionists on it, but I'll show it to you.
Not doing it anymore. You're left versus right. Don't care anymore. There is not get
Very
stopped,
satanic.
rather, by his neck. Until you acknowledge that story that you tried to tell us is complete BS, something that could take down a moose, somehow did not take down Charlie Kirk. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? I'm not interested in your races around the country. I'm not voting until this is resolved, okay? This is toxic.
I can't believe
you are
you still
toxic.
believe in that
And it is
party.
unbelievably abusive to suggest that I have to now reinvest and work for the exact same party that told me that if I voted for them and got the word out for them, and I did do all of those things, that things would be different. Corruption's going to stop. We're going to be the most transparent
No, they are the corrupt. That's the
administration that you've
problem.
ever seen. Except on those Epstein files. Yeah, I know he was like abusing children, but what Epstein files were we even talking about? No. No, thank you. No. Nope. Goodbye. Not doing it anymore. You're left versus right. Don't care anymore.
Right.
There is power, and there is the rest of us. There is power, and there is the rest of us. And you are not going to convince me that any of this stuff is consequential after I just watched Charlie Kirk catch a bullet in his throat and watching all of you lie about it. Okay? There's actually this vintage clip from TRL. Remember Total Request Live with Carson Daly? That perfectly embodies me and how I am feeling in this moment. So let's watch that vintage clip together.
Visit GovX.com and join a community of patriots and
Please
pros.
hit the like
You've earned
button.
GovX,
Double
savings
tap
for
the
those who
face of
serve.
your screen. Like, share, subscribe, and join the membership. Please.
Lake arrived today.
It's only going to get deeper from here.
My name is Melinda, and I live in Florida. Being a young black female and also a teen mother, what do you guys do to give back to the community? Also directed mostly towards ODB. I know Praz and the Fugees do things for the community, but what is going to be your thing for the community?
Nothing.
Wow.
To the Republicans, I send you love. Okay, don't get me wrong. I send you love. But what I will be doing for the broader community until you start telling the truth is nothing. Nothing.
Wow.
So don't at me. I just don't care at all, not even a little bit. Anyway, two of the
I give you
three
nothing
people that I still like that are within the realm of politics got together. Tucker Carlson joined Dave Smith. I kind of want to qualify Tucker Carlson. I feel like I want to say the stupendous Tucker Carlson joined Dave Smith on his show to respond to all of this Zionist backlash that he was receiving for having a conversation with Nick Fuentes. And foremost, Tucker explains why he had the conversation with Nick Fuentes. Take a listen.
I didn't make Nick Fuentes, hardly. I just want to know what this is about. And I wanted to make the point that I often make, and now seems even more important than it ever has, which is that virtue and sin are not transmitted genetically. There is no such thing as blood guilt. Therefore, collective punishment is always immoral. God created each person individually. He did not create communities at once. He created people. I think this is a theology one, isn't it? All of us will die and in the end face God alone. So it's about the person. And people can be changed by God, by the way. And the New Testament is that story of people who were, in the case of the whole hero of the New Testament, the human hero is a guy called Paul, who's murdering Christians as a Pharisee, and then becomes the greatest proselytizer in the history of Christianity and my personal hero. So, like, don't tell me that people can't be changed because of their blood. Now, that is the basis, that position is the basis of Western civilization. We often talk about Western civilization, and we're all defending Western civilization. Israel's defending Western civilization. Israel does not have a Western position on this question. The Israeli position, not of all Israelis, by the way, and certainly not of all Jews, but I'm saying of the Israeli government and of a couple of its ministers, which they say this out loud all the time, is that everybody who's related to a terrorist shares in his guilt. That's collective punishment. It is blood guilt, and it's antithetical to Christianity and to the West. And so for me, and by the way, Israel's not the only country that does this. Most countries do this. Literally most countries do this. All of Asia, India, this is like an intuitive response that people have.
Okay, so that I actually introduced that wrong. That's Tucker just giving the broader theological, delivering the broader theological point, which is important, that people have the capacity to change. And actually, we're kind of in this weird psychosis as a society. And I would say that this is kind of one of the things they're trying to deliver to us, is that some people are just deplorable. Like everything about them is just so deplorable, and we have to throw them away. And that's what creates these sort of movements where people are just tired of it. They're just tired of this. This is not the way that Christians think, actually. We very much don't live in a Christian society because we live in a Christian Zionist society, and Christian Zionism is it's a paradox, okay? There's no such thing as Christian Zionism because Zionism is all about identity. Right? It's all about identity. Because I am a Jew, I therefore have a right to this land. Because they are Jews and I am a Christian, I recognize that I'm going to get into heaven if I just worship how Bibi Netanyahu, even when he kills tens of thousands of kids. That is a political ideology. It is not a religion, and it is dangerous, and it's wrong, and it is backwards, and it is, of course, antithetical to the Bible. Now, Tucker then explains specifically why he chose to have a conversation with Nick Fuentes. Take a listen.
You should be forgiving always. Things are being said right now that almost seem like they can't be forgiven. They're exhortations to violence, clearly they are, et cetera, et cetera. Slander of a kind that's so severe, like how do you get past that? I think we should force ourselves. I interviewed Nick Fuentes who attacked my wife and my son and my dad. He didn't attack my dad. And I interviewed him anyway. I choked it back, and I thought to myself, I want to hear this, and I'm just going to I try to make myself do that. So if tomorrow John Podhoretz is like, or whomever I'm mad at, right? People I used to know are calling me a Nazi, is like, you know what? I don't think he's actually a Nazi. Like, let's have a real conversation. Let's do the best for America. They should all be accepted. I don't think we should have permanent enemies who are American citizens. I don't, because I think the whole idea of it is we're united by citizenship, our common Americanness. Everybody's welcome, even if we hated each other 20 minutes ago. And Glenn Greenwald, I hated Glenn Greenwald. Now I think he was one of my favorite people in the world, not just politically, but personally. Like, forgiveness is essential. People change. Allow for that. Don't draw permanent lines in the sand where it's like, I hate you and I will hate your son too. Like, that's non-Western thinking. We don't allow that.
want you to really consider, you listen to Tucker's perspectives and what's guiding his perspectives, and then go backwards and listen to like Mark Levin and these people that get on their platforms and call him irredeemable, and you realize there's a different spirit moving within these groups, right? And he is what Christianity is, right? It's about forgiveness. It's about when you're angry, not assuming that there's some like blood oath that you need to honor, but saying, you know what, Nick Fuentes says something crappy things about me and I'm going to speak to him. I did the same thing. I was like the bigger person, hosted him, and he was, by the way, still a jerk. But this idea that he shouldn't have a platform, he shouldn't be allowed to speak, he shouldn't be allowed to think, he shouldn't be allowed to breathe. What is that from? What is your faith? You're definitely not going to convince me that that's the first 5 books of the Bible, okay? I know what your faith is. It's Zionism, okay? You guys behave like gangsters. You behave like you are only loyal to one another, and you'll come beat up any person, figuratively. You'll take care of any person that gets in your way. And the world can see that now. So what's your next move? To just keep doing this? To just keep behaving like this? And just know that every act that you make, every show, everything that you make go viral with you speaking in the way that you speak, and then people get to hear Tucker, he gets bigger and you get smaller, okay? He gets bigger, our ideas get bigger, your ideas get smaller, because people can perceive the nastiness that's guiding it and they want nothing to do with it, okay? Now, I'm going to take a brief break because I know that you guys have a lot of comments, and we also have book club tonight, and we're going to get deep.
Woo! Yeah, hold on. About the... I can probably tap into a little of it. I'm trying to catch it right at the beginning when it shows the thumbnail. But it is... It's not sure. Hold on. It's saying a day ago. And this is the thumbnail. So it was the Saginaw of Satan. John, you see it? And it was horrible. Once we got off into it, hold on. It's showing me a commercial. Yep, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And it showed how they took some of the Tehran or whatever, and the worship. It was just horrible. It was horrible. That's why I'm glad she said that there's no way that sacrifice kids, they are okay with. Just a lot. Just a lot. But that's the thumbnail where it went off in there. It went deep off in there.
Deeper, by the way, into that sort of guiding theology when we get back into the Sigmund Freud book, because it really connects dots for you, right? What that guiding philosophy comes from is actually a psychology. It is a psychology, and he's the father of it, as they call him, the father of modern psychology. And so really stepping back into time and understanding what was happening at the turn of the 19th century across Europe, why so many speech laws have been passed in Europe, kind of Christians, in the way that we're doing right now, waking up and going, what is the guiding philosophy of these people that seem like they hate us? Like they're trying to abuse, like what have we done wrong to be treated like this? This book is really an aha moment, and I'm excited for the book club. I'm excited, and I understand why Zionists infiltrated it, but we're not going to stop.
What did I put? Hold on. Detox for the
Most Christians think that Judaism is merely the practice of the Old Testament Mosaic Law, but the truth is that it's a completely unrecognizable religion with many added rabbinical texts to their that they call the Torah. Most Christians think that the term Torah means the first 5 books of Moses, but in rabbinical Judaism, the term Torah also includes the Babylonian Talmud as well as the writings of the Kabbalah, like the Zohar, which is Jewish Luciferianism. In the modern Hebrew language, the word Torah simply means instructions, which to the Jews includes the instructions of the rabbis found in the Talmud and Kabbalah. The Jewish Babylonian Talmud not only rejects Jesus as the Messiah, but has incredibly hateful things to say about the Lord and Savior. So blasphemous that it
This is why they hate us.
to even speak this out loud.
Oh, Lord.
Jesus as the Messiah, but has incredibly hateful things. The Jewish Babylonian Talmud not only rejects Jesus as the Messiah, but has incredibly hateful things to say about the Lord and Savior. So blasphemous
That's a no.
that it grieves my soul to even speak this out loud, but it's vital we learn the truth about rabbinical Judaism.
Rabbi, what are those books behind you? Hi, my name is Rabbi Raps. I teach you what you should have learned in Hebrew school, and people always want to know, what are those books? And those are the Talmud, the most fascinating set of books, I believe, in the world. Over 15,000 pages, written over 500 years, quoting over 500 different rabbis, talking about all areas of Jewish life. This is the most misunderstood book. I get so much hate mail about things that Talmud says.
Y'all, please get the likes
Why
up.
don't we actually study the Talmud?
Yes,
Double tap the
let's
face of your
study the
screen.
Talmud.
Double
The
tap.
Jewish Babylonian Talmud is available to read online at safaria.org. I first want to bring your attention to Yevamot 63a, where we read, "And Rabbi Elazar said, 'What is the meaning of that which is written? This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh.'" Genesis 2:23. This teaches that Adam had intercourse with each animal and beast. Adam had intercourse
Wow.
with each animal
Ugh.
and beast.
Oh, that's okay. That's their sacrifice stuff. I'm assuming this is for educational Lord. I can't even talk.
And
Lord, oh
his
Lord.
mind was not at ease. In accordance with the verse, and for Adam there was not found a helpmate for him, Genesis 2:20, until he had intercourse with Eve.
Okay, so let me tell you why that is not true. I mean, just in case somebody may think that, yeah, because there was no feeling, no emotion, no desire. If it was forbidden for the purpose of not eating the fruit or breaking the skin of the fruit was to tap into that flesh, that sin. If he was having intercourse with animals, then he would have already tapped into it, sin, and the feel and so we know that this is not the Bible. And I mean, I just don't like hearing them say this. So it already starts back with them being warped in the head. It's just like, I don't even know how to speak, trying to defend or understand that mindset that follows this crap. But the title of this one I did was, let me show it to y'all. This is just, I was going to play it, but it's just too much. It's too much. It's just too much. And hold on. Okay. Let me do this. Let me finish her out, and then I'll play a little of it. But I ended it as Christian Charlie Kirk, backdoor Charlie Kirk, TPSU, counterfeit Israel. That's the title. Counterfeit Israel. And it was to break down why it was counterfeit. And then it went off into in their books and their idols and their sacrificing of babies to this big old animal with the big head. You're welcome. And it was wild. So let's finish, because she's almost finished. She's finna take some questions and answers. And then we'll be finished with her. Kind of in a good time, but y'all get the likes up.
1-800-958-1000 for a 100. American Financing is helping homeowners access the equity.
More like.
All right. Top comment from yesterday. I'm going to start pulling the top comment that makes me chuckle. There were a couple of them yesterday, but this one regarding Kash Patel's tweets calling his girlfriend a sensational country singer. It was so weird. This user wrote, Cheryl writes, after hearing Kash Patel's tweet, I'm 90.
Oh, did I?
%% sure he's the one that wrote Tyler's message to his furry lover.
I agree.
Absolutely, you are correct. It's now a fact. It's now a fact.
It's the
Just
same
kidding,
verbiage.
but I love that comment. All right, comments from today's episode. Laughing Cats Music World writes, I keep thinking about George Zinn. I know he was a habitual Salt Lake City event disruptor, but what are the chances his reflex is to take the blame voluntarily? I guess it's possible, but wow, crazy split decision to make, right? Not
Somebody
even
took
hesitation.
their like back?
I told you guys that we had a source leak to us. He went to the hospital. He went to Utah Valley Hospital after this event to treat some of his like mild injuries from being dragged, and he told people that he was told to do it and he was paid to do it, but he didn't know where the payment was coming from. So yeah. This entire thing was just an operation,
Isn't that the
like I
same
said.
thing Charlie
Brandon
said
Hansen,
to Bibi Netanyahu? He didn't know where the money was coming from and he didn't know where it was going. I mean, nobody knows where the money. So who hired you? How do you not know where the money's coming from?
It's been a lifelong Israel supporter. Recently, I've come to not like Bibi, but I still love the land where the Lord was born, a Zionist who dislikes Netanyahu. Curious how you feel about that. Love from Maine. It at least makes me happy to hear you acknowledge that there's a demon. It's the strangest thing to me when these people are treating Bibi Netanyahu like he is their Christ. And that is what makes it a disgusting heresy, right? Like it's to misinterpret the Bible so much that you're basically platforming and honoring what Bibi Netanyahu does, avoiding the topic, not acknowledging that what he's doing to the Palestinians is wrong. Having love for Jerusalem, that makes sense. Having love to be able to walk in Jerusalem and to see the relics, that all makes sense to me. And I think I'm just more disgusted by people who turn a blind eye to everything that's happened to the Palestinians. It just makes me sick. And to see him on camera acting like such a gangster and people pretending that he's holy, or that there's even a shred of documented proof that these people are the original people from the Holy Land is crazy. There's way more proof to the contrary, which they've stopped printing, even their own textbooks, which they've stopped printing, that point to the fact that they came from Turkey, the Turkic Ashkenaz tribe, that came down, began speaking Yiddish, and then needed a place to go after World War II. It's crazy to me. The whole thing's crazy. Again, I would debate anybody on that topic. Definitely feeling especially fired up about it. Smoky Mountain Kitty writes, always trust your gut. Our brain takes in far more information than we are aware of. I love your show and all that you do. Thank you so much. Beck Build writes, so glad Charlie had you. On another topic, dinosaurs. Hundreds of Bible-believing PhD scientists have evidence that dinosaurs are real, killed during the global flood of Genesis. The Institute for Creation Research answers in Genesis and creation. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Nope. Sorry. And this is going to get, I bet you, the people that are going through my book club, by the end of this, you're going to see that there was a conscious movement, as I said, at the turn of the century, same time they started going, oh, we found dinosaur bone, and then you get into like the research of you come from an Australopithecus, and they describe this as like, oh, suddenly science was peaking. And actually what was happening is they wanted to make people invest in scientism. That's a C.S. Lewis perspective. He writes about that in one of his books, where they wanted to turn science into God. And as long as they say there's an expert, there's research, experts say, that people would fall into line. And that's what we see happening. So I can't do a deep dive on the dinosaur thing right now, but the book club, we're going to go there eventually. And I just can, I don't know, I see a bigger picture, a broader picture now. Removing the Bibles from classrooms, teaching people that they're Homo sapiens and they started walking straight, but also the monkeys are still here. It was very methodical, and yeah, a broader conversation to have.
Speaking of monkeys, y'all do know a lady shot him dead. That monkey was in her backyard. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? I was finna give him a name. Shot him dead. Did y'all, I mean, yeah, laid him out. Oh, she said, oh, okay, they won't come get you. Oh, okay, I got a place for you. Y'all double tap the face of the screen, get the likes up. Yeah, laid him out.
I can't wait for that clip to go viral, by the way. Like, I care. Like, I also don't believe the moon landings happened, so you can cut that clip because they didn't happen. That's crazy. More scientism. Anyways, Christine writes, loyalty is rare. Christ is king. Indeed, he is. Beth Mitchum writes, so we give Israel billions. People who support Israel give AIPAC money to give our government to give to our government to vote the way Israel wants. So my tax money pays for Israeli ideas. We pay Congress twice. Can you say money laundering? Yeah, that's what it feels like, for sure. We give our tax dollars, they go overseas, and then they yell at us for paying attention to what they're doing overseas and then call us anti-Semitic. This is like the worst deal ever. I'd like that deal to be undone, and it certainly isn't going to be undone in this administration, that's for sure. Jennifer K. writes, just asked Grok if Israel and Egypt coordinate on intelligence ops. It says yes, calling their cooperation unprecedented. Since the 1979 peace treaty, intel chiefs have met often, share real-time data. Honestly, few countries make more sense working together. Yeah.
We're Maurice's, and we're here to give you that styled feeling. We rely on mobile networks
Most is Israel, B is Egypt, and there is a reason for that. So it
Qatar.
doesn't look like it's all going to Israel. That's my perspective.
But
So most of our
Qatar,
money is Israel, B met often, share real-time data, honest overseas, and then call us anti-Semitic. This is like the worst deal ever. I'd like that deal to be undone, and it certainly isn't going to be undone in this administration, that's for sure. Jennifer K. writes, just asked Grok if Israel and Egypt coordinate on intelligence ops. It says yes, calling their cooperation unprecedented. Since the 1979 peace treaty, intel chiefs have met often, share real-time data. Honestly, few countries make more sense working together. Yeah, country A that gets most of our money is Israel, B is Egypt, and there is a reason for that. So it doesn't look like it's all going to Israel. That's my perspective. Darth Phantom writes, citizens have, and I would say since the 1967 war, do you think that they would let Israel control the Sinai Peninsula? Anyways, more on that later. Darth Phantom writes, citizens have always paid taxes to finally be able to retire, and the thanks that we get for this is they raise the age on us to retire, and we all obey like idiots. Am I the only one angered about this? Yeah, it's all coming apart. We're realizing it's all one big scam. It's all usury, and it is a sin. And everything that's happening in our country, our culture, the corrosion. I think it's because America has married to Zionism. Like I truly do believe that, and I think a lot of people are waking up to that. We were a better country when we were a Christian nation. We are no longer a Christian nation. We are an occupied nation with an ideology that has produced filth in our culture.
bam, right there, y'all. Right there, right there. Did y'all hear that with your good ear? She just broke down what she learned through it all. They are trying to marry. Oh my God. Oh my God. So that's why they keep saying this Christian Zionist. They are trying to marry a good and evil together. God and the devil together. How could they if they believe total opposite? They're total opposite. This is not an opposite attract situation. But yeah, that's exactly what it is right there. She just said it.
And everything that's happening in our country, our culture, the corrosion. I think it's because America has married to Zionism. Like I truly do believe that. And I think a lot of people are waking up to that. We were a better country when we were a Christian nation. We are no longer a Christian nation. We are an occupied nation with an ideology that has produced filth in our culture. Miranda writes, hi, Candace, I'm 23, and I should be clear, a political ideology dressed up as a religion and a faith.
Thank you.
Miranda writes, Candace, I'm 23 and newly married. We just found out that I'm pregnant. Congratulations. I'm nervous, but I know children are God's blessings. Do you have any advice for me as a young mother?
And
Is it
trying
okay
to stop us from being
everyone
a
angered
Christian
about this?
nation.
Yeah, it's all coming apart. We're real. Two countries make more sense working together. Yeah. Country A that gets most of our money is Israel, B is Egypt, and there is a reason for that. It's so it doesn't look like it's all going to Israel. That's my perspective. Darth Phantom writes, citizens have, and I would say since the 1967 war, do you think that they would let Israel control?
And guess, this is John, and this is why I keep mentioning the sheep and the wolf in sheep clothing to lead us astray. To lead us astray. A wolf in sheep clothing.
Peninsula. Anyways, more on that later. Darth Phantom writes, citizens have always paid taxes to finally be able to retire, and the thanks that we get for this is they raise the age on us to retire, and we all obey like idiots. Am I the only one angered about this? Yeah, it's all coming apart. We're realizing it's all one big scam. It's all usury, and it is a sin. And everything that's happening in our country, our culture, the corrosion. I think it's because America has married to Zionism. Like I truly do believe that, and I think a lot of people are waking up to that. We were a better country when we were a Christian nation. We are no longer a Christian nation. We are an occupied nation with an ideology that has produced filth in our culture. Miranda writes, hi, Candace, I'm 23, and I should be clear, a political ideology dressed up as a religion and a faith. Miranda writes, Candace, I'm 23 and newly married. We just found out that I'm pregnant. Congratulations. I'm nervous, but I know children are God's blessing. Do you have any advice for me as a young mother? Is it okay to be nervous? My advice would be not to take advice. It is going to be the most natural job that you have. You are going to just know what to do when you see the baby, and it will make you a better person because you will be so tapped into God's creation. You will realize that there is something more. It is one of the sins in the culture that kind of trained us to have children later, is that we don't tap into our divine purpose, and children immediately have you tap into your divine purpose. You feel more wholesome, more confident. I became a more confident person when I had children because I suddenly realized what matters and what doesn't matter. And that's why I fight like hell for truth, because it matters, right? My investment is that I have children, and my silence is essentially cowardice. That would guarantee that their future would be compromised, could be more compromised than our lives are right now. Lastly, Real Light Worker writes, have you looked into events going on at UVU that day? A college student posted an FB reel of her experience. She ran into a building where the room was filled with uniformed people and a bunch of different flags. Who were they? That's the Hall of Flags that's behind Charlie's head, and I do find something suspicious was going on there. I've never gotten clarity, but that's where notoriously the person who filmed the footage, the only footage that we have of the person running across, who they say is the shooter running across the Losey Center. So yeah, look, we are investigating every day with more information. Tomorrow we will have more explosive information and revelations about the Egyptian plane, which is so interesting. Speaking of the unique relationship between Egypt and Israel, TikTok is hitting us for videos talking about the Egyptian planes. That's very strange. Israel's moderator served in the IDF, we know, and Bibi wants TikTok secured for Israel's future. Why do they care about Egyptian planes that were there? It's kind of coming together. There's a picture here that's coming together. Anyways, you guys, we have to jump off because we do have book club tonight.
Okay, whoo, Lord. Okay, I think it's something I want to tap into right quick. So we're not going to be on here all night. I'm not going to go into nothing real major. But hold on. I got something on my eye. While I look for it, let me hear what he's saying. And it's about Bibi not going to sue me. And him thinking it's okay to ape. Great. So hold on, let me.
Jersey, how do you interpret that?
This is not it. This is not it.
Referendum there on Donald Trump. How do you do it? This could not be clearer. These results could not possibly be clearer across the board on what this is. This is just a runaway election for Democrats. It has to be interpreted as a negative statement about Donald Trump. And as we go forward tonight, the speech that I'm actually looking forward to more than any other, and I think it's going to be the most important speech of his career, is Andrew Cuomo's concession speech. And it's a very, very important speech. In many political careers, the most beautiful speech a politician ever gives is that final concession speech when they're actually leaving the stage. This can be his opportunity. He lost. He really lost.
Let's get to Israel, our great ally. Let me give you some of the backstory.
What is Andrew Cuomo going to do for that new mayor and for the city of New York? That's the question for him tonight. We know what the mayor-elect is going to do. We know what he's promised to do. We know what he's going to try to do. But now there's something for Andrew Cuomo to do for the Democratic Party, for the city of New York, for the electorate of New York, to actually express a real congratulations to a real winner tonight, and to try to find a way to help the city go forward. And by the way, this family has now taken a unique position in American history. You have a father and a son who both lost their campaigns for mayor of New York and both won their campaigns for governor of New York. We've never seen anything quite like that. They did it in reverse order. Mario Cuomo lost his campaign for mayor of New York against Ed Koch, and then beat Ed Koch. Okay, work with me.
Okay. I got it out. I need 20 likes. Can I get 20 likes real quick? Double tap the face of the screen. So speaking of Israel, and I haven't listened to this, but it says that Israel is the Israelis erupt over right to ape. Right to ape. Can I get 20 likes, please, just real quick, so we can watch this and then we can go.
For what?
Because this is this Zionist stuff that they want to attach Christian to it, and everybody's supposed to be okay with it. Is so when she said they tried to marry the Zionists and Christianity, it's a no for me. It's an absolute no.
Here for you guys who don't recall, we can put these images up on the screen. Horrific video leaked a while back showing the abuse, including sexual abuse, of this Palestinian hostage. You can see the way that the IDF there, and this was in this notorious Sidi Taman prison facility. And so once this comes out and they go to actually arrest these men who were involved in this abuse and this rape, what you saw there was a riot broke out. A right to rape riot broke out in Israel, including some politicians from the governing coalition and the ruling party who were involved in this, who were not upset about the abuse. Of course they weren't upset about that.
Since
they were
tens of millions of dollars to this.
Charges and accountability, even some like sort of bogus sham investigation. And they go to actually arrest these men who were involved in this abuse and this rape. What you saw there was a riot broke out. A right to rape riot broke out in Israel, including some politicians from the governing coalition and the ruling party who were involved in this, who were not upset about the abuse. Of course they weren't upset about that. They were upset that there might be any sort of charges and accountability, even some like sort of bogus sham investigation, which is what it has totally turned out to be. They were horrified that there would be any recriminations against anyone that was involved with the literal sexual abuse of a Palestinian prisoner that they were holding there. By the way, this was not a one-off. This was not a one-off. We've seen numerous reports from international organizations, testimony from people who have come out of this facility in particular, but others as well. We've seen New York Times reporting about the systematic rape and sexual abuse of Palestinians being held by the IDF. So what happened here, apparently, is, you know, if you want to avoid getting the ICC involved as a country, you have to show that you are taking seriously the allegations against your own people, any sort of like war crime allegations against your own people. So Israel will occasionally do these like sham investigations effectively to try to keep their image of, oh no, we're we're democracy in the Middle East. Anything that goes wrong, we have accountability, et cetera, et cetera. So this was so bad that the video was leaked. And they did this sham investigation.
They put that lady in jail.
Continue to be free,
over there. Okay. For leaking it.
So what has happened since then? Let's put D3 up on the screen next to give you the backstory here. So it has been revealed who it was, this IDF legal chief, who ended up leaking the video. So first, her name is Military Advocate General Yafat Tomer Yerushalmi. So first she resigns, then she actually disappears, and they found what appeared to be a potential suicide note in her car because there is this mass backlash in Israeli society, not again over the abuse of these prisoners, but of the fact that she leaked this video so that the world could see what was actually going on. So the headline here, IDF legal chief avoided probes into the Gaza war crime, citing right-wing backlash, sources say, amid resignation. So just so you understand who this lady is, this is not some, lefty liberal person. This is someone who avoided in significant instances, including the strike on the World Central Kitchen workers, including on multiple hospital strikes that killed civilians, including reporters. This is someone who buried all of that and refused to investigate all of those things. Why? Because she was worried about right-wing backlash. So now that we have the information that she was the one who leaked this video, they are calling for her head. And I mean literally. All the way up to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu himself. Let's go ahead and show D2. So Bibi is saying here that the rape of the Israeli soldiers, the Palestinian prisoners in Sidi Tayman, caused enormous damage to the image of the state of Israel and the Israeli army and our soldiers. This may be, he says, the most difficult propaganda attack
we know he in the
state of Israel has faced since its establishment. I don't recall an incident centered with this degree of force. This requires an independent investigation, not affiliated with any party, and I expect such an investigation to be conducted. And then at bottom, you see the image of the rapist. This is them publishing a photo, boasting while masked after a press conference so as not to be identified and prosecuted judicially abroad. And the most important thing this person says is that in all of Israel, no one is talking about the heinousness of the rape, but rather the anger is focused only on the leak of the videos that expose the crime, and this is what really bothers them. I mean, just what a twisted society that there's no ups. I mean, listen, we criticize
our money's going over there for this type of stuff.
When the Abu Ghraib photos came out, that was a genuine scandal, right? People were horrified by it. Okay, now you have this come out. This isn't a scandal that these soldiers were raping Palestinians. The scandal is that the information came out, and they are calling for literal lynch mobs against this woman, and she's going to be charged. And it has already had to resign, is like threatening suicide because she's so terrified of what they're going to do to her societally. Completely insane story.
Most Americans are good people. During Abu Ghraib, even Iraq, invade Iraq, chest beating warrior people were all still horrified by the video, and there were bipartisan outrage over what happened. And I mean, I remember even the names of some of those interrogators. Those were household names here in the United States. Over there, not so much because they want to protect them.
But the problem is, can we get some reality? They're doing the same thing here. Politicians, the good old boys, they are doing the same thing here. And I don't think that we would have a full spectrum or a broad idea visual had the Epstein situation not come out. We just would not have known how big it is and how much was going on in the U.S. They are the thugs behind the human trafficking. They are the thugs behind the missing kids. I'm going to figure out a way to try to get us into the that human trafficking undercover. I was going to wait till this weekend and just realized today is just Tuesday, and I think we need to tap into it earlier this week. I'm going to probably set it up. Yeah, and he kind of mentions Epstein and Diddy. Now I don't remember if at that point, I don't think we knew how deeply involved Trump was and Andy was involved. Hi, Queen. Can I get you to hit the like button for me? Just double tap your phone or hit the thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. But hello. Yeah, I think it's time for us to tap into it so that we could really understand the fullness and the richness of it, how they all come together and meet. So when we see these pictures of these little girls and they dancing around being all, free, just little girls, and you got this slew of wolves looking at the sheep to eat them up. Then when I say stuff like, oh my God, every time I see this, I think about the kids in the hotel that looks like 4-star hotel, 5-star hotel, but on the inside is this. Yeah, y'all won't get it until y'all hear him describe what he walked into with this undercover event. And I was looking at something the other day. It's the, let me see, Bohemian. That they used to go to every year. Oh, they got footage. Oh, wow, we need to tap into that too. Oh, wow. Yeah, and what made it came up that
your kid is late for
Bush's
practice
daddy
again.
used to go
When
to
you notice your four-legged child is out of food, then you
hold on. Okay, y'all hit the like button.
There's a place tucked away that's rumored to host child sacrifice, ritual orgies, and occult ceremonies under the cover of secrecy. A place where the world's elite shed their public personas, dress in robes, and gather around a 40-foot stone owl for a torchlit spectacle that feels more ancient than political. And whatever happens inside isn't meant for you to see. Every July, deep in the redwood forests of Northern California, a hidden gathering takes place. Behind locked gates and armed guards, the world's most powerful men vanish from the public eye. Presidents, corporate tycoons, military brass. They don't come to negotiate, legislate, or campaign. They come to perform. They call it a harmless tradition, a retreat, a place to let go of care. But what really happens inside the Bohemian Grove? If it's just a harmless...
Do y'all hear this? Are y'all listening? Y'all still with me? Bohemian Grove. Presidents come once a year
Retreat. Why are the most powerful men in the world gathering in secret to burn effigies under a stone owl? And what decisions, if any, have been made in the shadows of those redwoods that shape the course of world events? And why has no mainstream media outlet ever been allowed inside? Let's try and find out.
Hello, I'm Mike Joberg, Marine Corps veteran and filmmaker, and we will try to answer these questions on today's episode of Forgotten History.
It ain't forgotten. They just don't want you to know about it.
The Bohemian Grove didn't start as a global power summit. It began in 1872 when a group of journalists, artists, and performers in San Francisco decided they needed a break from the city and the public. They called themselves the Bohemian Club. Leading the charge was Harry Edwards, a British-born entomologist and Shakespearean actor. He believed men of talent needed a place to escape the grind of city life and reconnect with nature. He was joined by Daniel O'Connell, a poet and journalist, and Ambrose Bierce, a sharp-tongued writer best known for the Devil's Dictionary. Ironically, Bierce would later mock the club for trading artistic spirit for social climbing, calling it a sanctuary for rich clowns. Because our motto was, "We shall be as free as birds," they were supposed to be free.
Well, okay, so Susan, why you say that, baby girl? If you're going to tap into this, you suggest I buckle up. Well, yeah, I mean, because this is kind of piggybacking off of what's been going on with these political parties. All of them, they all in cahoots together doing these rings of PDF files. Scamming, scheming, stealing, sacrificing. Yeah, but isn't Zionism and their belief beyond imagination to the average person? It's beyond imagination. That's what Zionism, that's what I've picked up, and they try to justify it as right because it's opposite of Christ. Everything is opposite of Christ. Okay, Susan says too much tonight, y'all. Because, listen, I've never seen this one, but every time I turn around, this cult stuff is coming up in the political parties are falling in there. So it's as if this ritual, I would like to see it, please. This ritual is been passed down and down from not just the U.S., foreign places. And so it appears that once I tap into the guy that went undercover to bust up and rescue kids, it kind of seems like it has elevated from the woods. Now I think they still do this bohemian stuff because it's all going. Because it's all okay. We should be aware. Okay.
Interesting where the wind takes them.
Well, this one is short.
1800s, it wasn't just writers and painters who wanted in. Bankers, businessmen, and politicians started joining at the club.
Bam.
To influence.
So we know that everything that's going on now is bankers and politicians, right? Hedge funds. See, I mean, so it started out one thing, and I guess the word of mouth, it grew.
Rich clowns. Because their motto was, "We shall be as free as birds," they were supposed to be free, untethered, drifting where the wind takes them. But by the late 1800s, it wasn't just writers and painters who wanted in. Bankers,
businessmen, and politicians started joining at the club. Art gave way to influence. Nature gave way to networking. Eventually, the group bought 2,700 acres of remote redwood forest in Monte Rio, California. That land would become the Grove. From the outside, it looked like summer camp for old men. Outdoor plays, drinking songs, and costume parties. But behind the trees, something else was happening. A new motto emerged: weaving spiders, come not here. A poetic way of saying, leave your business at the gate. Except, nobody ever really did. By the 20th century, the Bohemian Club had become something far bigger than a gathering of eccentric poets. Its list now read like the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Presidents, cabinet officials, CEOs.
Did I say Ronald Reagan?
Real power in America. Odds are you were either a member. Club had become something far bigger than a gathering of eccentric poets. Its list now read like the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Presidents, cabinet officials, CEOs, generals. If you held real power in America, odds are you were either a member or invited. Among the most well-known Republican attendees were Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and George H.W. Bush. On the Democrat side, figures like Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, and CIA Director James Woolsey.
CIA. I was wondering when the intelligence gonna come in there. Yeah. Now we see the pattern. It's a pattern here, y'all, to what is going on right now.
Well-known Republican attendees were Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and George H.W. Bush. On the Democrat side, figures like Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, and CIA Director James Woolsey. In fact, Nixon and Reagan reportedly met at the Grove in 1967 to discuss which of them would run for president, years before either won the White House. Nixon would later comment, the Bohemian Grove. I attended from time to time. It's the most goddamn thing you could ever imagine. Crude.
You can't believe it stayed.
Wow.
I used L'Oreal Paris Infallible Setting Spray to protect her from the outfit change.
It's the most goddamn thing you could ever imagine. Crude, but revealing.
Crude.
He knew something was off about it. These weren't casual cookouts. They were unofficial summits where the press wasn't allowed, minutes weren't taken, and the deals were brokered under the trees. In more recent years, tech moguls and media executives have also made their way into the Grove. Though modern guest lists still remain tightly guarded, tech moguls Jeff Bezos, Eric Schmidt, and Elon Musk have all been speculated to attend gatherings at the Grove. So exactly what did they do there? Well, every summer, a 2-week retreat begins with a bizarre ritual called the cremation of care. At twilight, men in robes march through the forest holding torches. They gather before a 40-foot stone owl perched above a lake as a mock human effigy, representing
a mock human
conscious, which is set ablaze. They call it symbolic, a way to let go of worldly concerns. But for decades, the secrecy has fueled speculation for something far darker than symbolic pageantry. Whistleblowers, former staff, and conspiracy researchers have alleged everything from drunken orgies to cross-dressing plays to occult ceremonies, child abuse, and even human sacrifice.
Whoa.
Served for something far darker than symbolic pageantry. Whistleblowers, former staff, and conspiracy researchers have alleged everything from drunken orgies to cross-dressing plays to occult ceremonies, child abuse, and even human sacrifice. Some believe the Grove serves as a psychological pressure valve for elites. Others claim it's a breeding ground for blackmail and manipulation. Still others go further, linking it to the so-called New World Order.
There we go.
Globalist agendas, economic resets, and covert political deals are quietly seated in the shadows of those redwoods. None of this has ever been conclusively proven, but when the rituals look like ancient pagan rites and the guest list reads like the table of contents in a national security briefing, people start to wonder. Powerful men chanting in robes, torch-lit processions, mock sacrifices, all under the gaze of a massive owl. Some claim the owl represents Moloch, the ancient god condemned in the Bible for demanding child sacrifice. Now, to be clear, Moloch in scripture is usually described with a bull's head, not an owl's, but the name stuck, especially after researchers began drawing parallels between the grove's rituals and the darker elements of ancient worship. The Bohemian Club claims the owl represents wisdom and that the ceremony is pure theater. However, in the year 2000, Alex Jones infiltrated the grove and captured footage of the ceremony. The video was grainy and surreal, but confirmed what skeptics had long suspected. This wasn't just cigars and campfires. There were indeed robes, chants, and a burning effigy. Even Jones's fiercest critics couldn't deny what was on the tape. But the club still insisted it was just theater. But many saw something older, something darker. Because if this is what they're willing to show each other, what don't they show us? Insiders describe the Grove as a place where trust is built, so that when real deals come later, the groundwork is already done. That's what makes it so powerful. Not the trees, not the robes, but the access. And while members are sworn to secrecy, leaks over the years suggest the lines between play and policy are a lot blurrier than the club admits. One of the Grove's most closely guarded traditions is the Lakeside Talk, a series of private, off-the-record speeches delivered by the powerful to the even more powerful. It was here in 1942 that a small group of scientists, military officials, military, first discussed what would become the Manhattan Project, the top-secret program to develop the atomic bomb. Not in a war room, not in Washington, but beneath the redwoods, besides a tranquil lake. Decades later, Helmut Schmidt, the then Chancellor of West Germany, delivered a talk on the emerging European Union and post-Cold War geopolitics. In the 1990s, Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan warned of a global economic instability shortly before U.S. monetary policies shifted. And Dick Cheney, before ascending to the vice presidency,
he died today,
is also reported to have given private defense briefings. These aren't casual summer camp presentations. They're policy-shaping previews. Information most of us would never hear, shared quietly with men who already pull the levers of global power. So ask yourself, if it's just a social club, why all the security? Why the secrecy? And why, year after year, does the same circle of decision makers keep showing up? For 50 weeks out of the year, Bohemian Grove is quiet. No tourists, no press, no real activity. Just towering redwoods, motion detectors, and armed patrols guarding a private sanctuary that's off limit to the rest of the world. But for 2 weeks, every summer, the gates open and the most powerful men on earth disappear into the woods. And whatever happens inside, you'll never hear about it on the evening news. But maybe it's really just a club, or maybe it's something worse. Because history has shown us that when power hides in plain sight, it rarely stays harmless for long. Let us know your thoughts on the Bohemian Grove in the comments.
what y'all think about the Bohemian Grove? It's a lot off into it, but it's a pattern, right? It's a pattern of what we're seeing and hearing and learning about right now. Ain't nobody saying nothing. It's going on for aging time. It's sickening. Yeah, it's time for it to stop. It's time for it to come to an end. That's a lot. Yeah,
just stress through my third set of scrubs. Totally normal. It's very healthy. I'm sure it's not a sign of emotional unraveling. Not at all.
We'll see. In fact, Nixon and Reagan reportedly met at the...
Okay, y'all, I'm finna go. Y'all have a good night, please. Like, share, and subscribe. Share the video. Become a member. Join the membership. Hit the like button on your way out. Yeah, we're going to have to start going in. You're welcome, Juliana. We're going to have to start going in. Yeah, it's way deeper, way sicker. Kind of glad on the cool that Trump even brought it up. I really am. Even though he's in the Epstein files, he was trying to out the Democrats. They're all involved. It's primarily a man thing, unless it's you being sacrificed, a female, treated and handled just horribly, just horrible. You can kind of understand why they would just do the god awful things to the females, and just to think about the little girl, Kate Johnson, who was fearful. And it was like, well, what if I get pregnant? And just the way Trump talked to her, the abuse, it's just crazy. It's just awful. We got to start going deep off in there, because it's somebody's reality. And we need to pray on getting this stopped. Lord, just shut it down. Reveal and expose. You're welcome. Okay, y'all have a good night.